I'm going to show you the 3-press activation. Lock, lock, lock. And our engine should start shortly. Okay, and now I'm going to shut it down with our 3-press. Take a second, the engine will shut off. And now I'm going to activate with our single button long range from our RF kit. This system offers 3-press starting and extended long range starting. We're in a 2015 Toyota Camry, push to start. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do a remote starter in this vehicle. Going to be a little bit of background noise and some glare because we're outdoors. Going to go ahead, we're going to start with removing the side panel. We're going to remove a 10mm under here. Just going to sneak this out a little bit. There's a nut in the back. We're going to take that off. These are 10mm. We'll go ahead and remove this 10mm right here. Careful not to drop it in. Phillips screw down here. Go ahead and grab that. Should be able to pop the dash off. Okay, we're going to release the hood latch. Press this white clip down. And we should be able to slide it right back. Remove the dash. Got the airbag assembly here. Going to go ahead and remove that. All 10mm. Nice dead battery. Let's switch drills or impacts. Okay, we're going to be careful not to pull on the airbag wires. We're going to need to access a few connections at the diagnostic plug, the can high, can low, and I believe we're going to source our power there also. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to release this diagnostic plug. Also going to tie up the airbag a little bit so it's not being pulled on. We're also going to remove the steering column cover plastic to get the steering wheel lock. So we're going to have the key in the vehicle and we're going to turn the ignition on so we unlock the steering wheel. We're going to remove the Phillips screw here at 9 o'clock and we're going to remove the screw at 3 o'clock. Set the wheel back to straight, turn off the ignitions, and go ahead and we're going to remove this cover. And apply pressure to the side while we pull down. Do the same thing on the other side. And we're ready to begin. Okay, we're at the steering lock plug. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make our connections here. Steering lock plug is located right here. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to unplug it and we're going to remove some of this loom so we can make a connection here. Okay, we've removed the protective loom and we're looking for two wires here. We're looking at a pink wire, a steering lock wire, and an ignition wire which is light green and black. Now, I'm not going to give you the colors of what I'm connecting. You should be going by the instructions. The instructions are right here. We're looking for the pink wire located at pin 4, the black wire located at pin 2. I'm going to use Posi-Tap connectors. These are toolless, solderless connectors. we're going to slip them on the wire and tighten them down to make our connections here. This will tap the wire, and then we're going to insert our wires in so we can tie into these circuits without damaging the wires, stripping and wrapping, or any of that stuff. And we'll still have solid connections that will work. It's actually a little point in there that's going to poke into the wire. And screw them down nice and tight, and reusable. You can take them out and reuse them if you want. Now, we're going to run our wires down the side of this. We're not going to run them through the tube. Okay, our ignition is light green and our steering lock is pink. We have about a 1/4 inch of wire stripped. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our steering lock connection. Going to loosen the collar on the top of the Posi-Tap. We're going to push our wire into the Posi-Tap, and then we're going to tighten this collar right here. And now we're going to make our ignition connection using our Posi-Tap connector. Again, we loosen the collar and we push our wire in and we tighten it and we pull on our wires to make sure they've caught. And those are the first two connections. I'm not going to show you how to use the Posi locks again. I have to go through each of the connections so I get this job done. Got a lot of cars in here today. Okay, we're going to make some connections at the diagnostic plug. Now remember, whenever we're dealing with the diagnostic plug, the orientation is looking at it from the front. Everything else is looking at it from the back. So if we're looking at this from the front, we're looking for can high, can low, and a power connection. And now if we turn it over, we have blue as can high, white as can low, red as a power connection. We're going to apply our Posi-Taps to these wires. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect our wires. We're looking for a positive wire first. We have our collar loose. We're going to go ahead and we're going to push in the wire and tighten the collar. And we're going to pull on it and make sure it connects. And we're going to do our can high, which is this blue wire. Our collar is already loose. So we're going to make sure we get all the strands into the Posi-Tap, push it in, and then tighten the collar. Now don't be afraid to push them in there. They got to go down in and go around a barb in there. So we're going to go ahead and do the last one. So these are all the connections we need at the diagnostic plug of the vehicle. Can high, can low, and power. Going to move on to the next step. Our next series of connections, there's 3 connections that are going to be done right here at this plug, up here on the ECM or BCM, whatever it is here. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to unplug this plug, and we're going to remove this band of tape to give us some slack on these wires. And we're going to locate our wires, and again, we're going to terminate our connections using our Posi-Tap connectors. Okay, so we're going to be looking at this plug. Orientation is from the back with the clip down. We're looking for 3 wires. We're looking for a green, a red, and a black located at the specified pins. So if we orientate ourselves, we're looking at this black as being the parking lights. And then we're looking at, we're looking for a green and a red adjacent to each other up on the top row here at the specified pins. And if we go through the wires, we have our green and our red located right here, right next to each other. That would be our RX and our TX, and we have our parking light connection right here. We're going to apply our Posi-Taps, and we're going to terminate our wires to these connections also. We have wires labeled coming up in a harness that's going to go right here. Okay, we've applied our Posi-Tap connectors, which are working extremely well on these small gauge wires. We're going to go ahead and we're going to connect our TX. That's our wire labeled TX, and we're going to connect it to the red wire. So we've got our Posi-Tap collar loose. We're going to go ahead and we're going to insert the TX wire into the tap. Make sure all the strands go in and push it fully in till it bottoms out. Now we're going to do our RX, which is going to go to this green wire adjacent to the red, and we're going to do the same thing. Make sure all the strands go in, and we push it in, and then lock it down. And we can verify by pulling on each connection. And lastly, we're going to do our parking light connection. And we're going to tighten our collar down. Okay, we have a correction to make. On our 3 connections here, our RX, TX, and our parking lights, the guide indicates it's a black wire. We had a black wire really close to the pin, and we've confused it for the actual parking light wire, which is the pink wire. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make our connection to our pink wire for our parking lights. We're going to apply our Posi-Tap to the pink wire at the corner pin, and then we're going to insert our parking light wire into our Posi-Tap, and we're going to lock it down. Now we're going to plug in our plug back into the BCM. We can go ahead and reinsert this plug into the BCM, and we're going to ground our system with a ring here. Looks like there's a 10 millimeter here with no plastic obstructions. We don't want plastic in any of this ground stuff, so we're going to go for this 10 millimeter screw and apply our ground there. Okay, so we're going to apply our ground again to this 10 millimeter screw with no plastic around it or in between our connection. And we're ready to begin programming our device. To begin programming the device, we want to unplug all of the plugs. We want to have a key fob in the vehicle. We want to hold the program button down on our device, plug in the 4-pin plug, release when the blue light is lit. If you notice when I plug this in, the lights will cycle. The blue light came on first, but I didn't release it. I'm going to let it go back around. If I keep the button down, it'll cycle around back to blue. I will release on blue. So if you miss it, you can also unplug it, hold the program button down, plug in the 4-pin, release on blue. Next, we're going to plug in the remaining connectors. Now we're ready to continue on to the next steps. Okay, with the solid blue and all of our connectors plugged in, we're going to go ahead and we're going to press the push to start button 2 times. We're not going to hold the brake. No brake, just press the start button twice. Once, twice. Remember, you have to have a key fob in the car. The blue light will go out, it will come back on and flash rapidly. This was an indication that programming is complete. Press the push to start button 1 more time to shut off the ignitions, and we're ready to go. We're going to remove the key from the vehicle, and we're going to test our system. We're ready to trigger remote start. We're going to lock the doors 3 times. Okay. Okay, our engine is running. The thing with these Toyotas and Lexuses is there's no secure takeover. So what that means is when I come to get in the vehicle and I open the door, the engine is going to shut off. So I'm ready to enter the vehicle. I put my hand behind the handle. The doors unlock. When I open the door, a couple seconds after doing that, the engine is going to shut off. Now I would have to get in the vehicle and restart it by pressing the button. All of our standalone remote starter kits are provisioned to accept an RF antenna kit. I'm going to show you how to program the Revo antenna kit to our system. Okay, our antenna kit that we're going to use are 2 single button remotes. We've already run the antenna wire down from the headliner. We have the antenna mounted up on the top of the windshield near the rear view mirror. And we've routed the wires down the headliner, down the A-pillar, and over to our unit. So I'm going to show you how to connect the unit to our antenna. We have a wire with 2 ends. One does not have a clip, one has a clip. We're going to snap the one with a clip into our coupler port. We're going to, again, locate our pigtail on our device that has the same end. We're going to slide that into the other end of the coupler. Our antenna is connected. Now we'll remove the 4-pin plug from our device. We'll hold the program button down, plug in the 4-pin plug. This time we're going to let the light cycle till the blue and the red is lit. We have solid blue and red. We release the button. Now we're going to press and hold the button down. The blue and the red lights will go out. We're going to release when the blue and the red come back on. At this point, we're ready to program our remotes. We must have a fob in the car to turn the ignitions on. We're going to go ahead and we're going to press the button 2 times. The yellow light will come on as an indication that the ignition is on. We're then going to press a button on the remote, and the blue and the red should flicker. And now we will shut the ignitions off. Okay, we've turned off our auto lamps, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the vehicle using 3 press. This will trigger remote starting. And we can go ahead and we can shut the vehicle off. And we've 3 pressed it again to turn the vehicle off. And we've also added a long-range antenna kit, and we can activate the remote starter by pressing and holding for 3 seconds. This will trigger remote start. Now, there is no secure takeover for Toyota or Lexus here with a push to start. So we go up and we enter the vehicle. The engine is going to shut off after we open the door. And that is the way it operates. You would have to get in and restart the vehicle using the push to start button. Okay, I'm just going to show you where I zipped everything up. I have our coupler here, our unit right here, running down to the diagnostic plug. Kind of run the wires down here on the side. I'm going to go ahead and release the wheel. You know, everything has to telescope out, so I extended the wheel to the furthest point before I did my zip up, so that I know I would have enough length. If you were to extend the wheel, you don't want to pull it on the wires. My antenna, you can get a clear picture, is mounted right here. The wire runs down the headliner, down the A-pillar, and comes out down here, and goes over to our unit.